Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be testing out some new drugstore makeup and I'm especially excited about this. This is a new e.l.f. and Tinder collab, which I've seen some mixed feelings about this collab in general. It feels a little bit too random for some people, which I completely understand, but I really like the packaging of the products in this collab. It reminds me a lot of the vinyl record that's right behind me. This one is called Sunbather by Deaf Heaven. They're one of my favorite bands, so that is why I have it displayed back there. But yeah, we have quite a few things to test out. Let's go ahead and get into it. So let me show you everything that's in here first before I take it all out of the box. But I thought the packaging was very pretty, and look at that makeup bag. This is super nice, and I feel like this is a really good size for just a few products, like for an everyday makeup look. And I'm pretty sure you can fit all the products from the collection into this makeup bag. So I am really happy to have this in my collection of makeup bags that I've collected over the years. And then here is the All Slick No Ick Face Primer. And see what I mean by the packaging. Right next to the vinyl record, you can really see how similar it is. And then the Set-uationship Setting Mist. Honestly, I think this is some of e.l.f.'s best packaging that they've done. I love the pink gradient. And then finally, the Tinderbox Lip Kit. And this one comes with a lip liner and 2 of their lip oils. So this comes with a mini red lip liner, which I do need a red lip liner in my collection. I really only have like darker reds, so I'm looking forward to try this one. And then a red lip oil, which has a warming sensation, and a clear one which has a cooling sensation. Okay, let's start off with the All Slick No Ick Face Primer, and this is supposed to be hydrating. I have been struggling with some dry patches lately, so hopefully this will help my foundation to apply a little bit better. I do like that this is in a squeezy tube, very convenient. So this is what the primer looks like, a little bit runny. Oh wow, it does thin out quite a bit once you start applying it to your skin, so I think I'm gonna like this. The real test is once I apply foundation over top of it. This actually might be a really good one to mix with the e.l.f. sun drops. I really didn't know what to mix them with because I didn't want to apply another layer of moisturizer to my skin, but I also don't think you're supposed to apply them just like directly to your skin without mixing them, which is actually what I've been doing. But this might end up being a really nice mix-in for that. Okay, that feels really good on my skin. Very thin but hydrating, so I like that a lot so far. I don't have a super new foundation to try, but I figured I would try this one again. This is the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation, but I have some mixed feelings about this foundation so far. It is very hydrating, but I don't love that it emphasizes some of my texture and my dry spots as well. And it doesn't wear the best on me either. It does break up within a couple of hours. Maybe the primer will help it today, but I also am hoping that it won't make it too glowy. And I'm still mixing the shades 24 Light Warm and 30 Medium Warm. So I'm gonna apply that with the BK Beauty 101 brush. It seems to be going on nicely over top of this primer. I'm not seeing anything bad happening, like any sort of pilling. I'm glad the primer isn't super glowy, even though it is moisturizing, because this foundation is already pretty glowy on its own, so I don't want anything too intensely glowy. I'm just going back to any areas where I want a little bit more coverage. And then I always just apply whatever's left on my brush to the sides of my nose because I don't want too much coverage there. I don't know what it is with this foundation that is very unpredictable to me. The first time that I tried it, I did really enjoy the overall look of it, even though it didn't last the longest on me. It did get very greasy by the end of the day, but right now it looks okay. Although I'm not loving the way it's sitting on my skin. Just in certain areas, it doesn't look perfected. So I know I didn't use any sort of like perfecting primer. I know this is just a hydrating primer, so it did help it. It doesn't look as dry or flaky in certain areas the way that it has other times, but it also doesn't look amazing. So this foundation to me is just okay so far. I'm gonna take my sponge and tap over everything. just to tone down any areas that look a little heavy. And this is my e.l.f. Total Face Sponge. Okay, so that helped a little bit, but it still looks a little bit heavy in certain areas. And then around my nose, it does look a little bit dry and cakey, but the sponge definitely helped at least a little bit. Let's go ahead and apply some concealer. I don't have a new one to try, so I'm just gonna apply the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum, and this is in the shade Beige. So I'm just gonna apply it onto my skin first, and then tap over it with my sponge. The only thing I don't love about this concealer is that it comes with a pump instead of a doe foot applicator. But it's not a deal breaker. I really like this concealer. It's just kind of tricky to control how much I pump out. I usually end up pumping out a little bit too much. So blending that out with my sponge. Yeah, that is pretty brightening for me right now, but in the fall and winter, this is actually going to be more of like a skin tone match. Hey guys, so it's been a few days since I filmed this video and I'm currently in the process of editing it, and I realized that I'm missing some footage, specifically the footage of me applying the Maybelline Sunkisser blushes. So I do have the shade Electric Bronze, and I'm gonna go ahead and demo it for you. Excuse my voice, by the way. I am sick at the moment, which is just perfect timing for me, honestly. So this has the same packaging and doe foot applicator as their Lifter glosses. I think that's what they're called. I haven't used those in a minute. So I'm gonna use this one as a liquid bronzer because I have seen specifically Tati use it as that. And I'm just gonna go ahead and dot it on. I'm gonna start with about that amount because when I first tried this, I felt like I applied a little too much, and honestly, I could have blended it a little bit better. So starting with that much. These don't dry too quickly, so I do have plenty of time to blend them out, and they do blend out really nicely. The only thing that I will say is that it does have glitter in it, which I didn't notice the first time that I tried these. And actually it's really just this electric bronze shade because I didn't notice any glitter in the other shade that I'm going to show you. But this is a really nice tone for a bronzer for me. So there it is applied, and I like the overall look of it, but it's really just the glitter that throws me off. I'm not sure if you can see it on camera. Hopefully I'm zoomed in enough, but I do have some flecks of glitter wherever I applied it. Let me go ahead and apply the other side. I actually like that these aren't super pigmented, so it's really easy to control how much product I apply. And because of that, I think they're also a little bit easier to blend out than some other liquid blushes or bronzers. And you know what? This is gonna sound crazy, but I'm starting to not mind the glitter that is in this product. I hated it at first. I thought it looked really off, but honestly, it's kind of growing on me. So if anything, I might end up enjoying this mixed with the other shade that I have, which I'm about to show you. But yeah, this one I used as a liquid bronzer. It blends out nicely. The color is very pretty. I think it's the right undertone for me, but it's just the glitter that throws me off sometimes. And then this shade, which is called City Sizzle, this one I'm going to use as an actual blush. And with this one, I didn't notice any actual glitter. This one just looks like a glowy blush. Again, these are not crazy pigmented, which I do appreciate. It just makes it a little bit easier to work with, and that blends out beautifully. I really like that shade. I don't even know how to describe this shade, but I would say it's like a shimmery terracotta, maybe. I'm gonna have to look up the description of this shade, but very pretty. I really like this one. So onto the other cheek, and I do about 3 to 4 dots. This is only my second time trying them, so my thoughts could change, but I really like that this blush shade is not super glittery. It does have some fine shimmer in it, but it looks glowy more than anything. Overall though, I do really like how these look together, and I am gonna try to mix these later on and see if I can make a bronzy blush shade. I feel like it would look really pretty, and I wouldn't mind a little bit of glitter on my cheeks, just not everywhere that I apply bronzer. But here is the electric bronze shade swatched, and then right next to it is a shade City Sizzle. So I have been enjoying these so far. Again, this is only my second time using these, but I do like them so far. I'm gonna set my under eyes with the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder. I have not used this powder in a little while, but this is one of my favorite powders for setting underneath the eyes. I also like to apply it on my T-zone, so in between my brows and then down the bridge of my nose. And then for the rest of my face, I'm taking the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Setting Powder. Quick little update before I continue applying the rest of my makeup. I know I'm still in the process of applying everything, but I wanted to point out a few things that I noticed. The foundation, after looking at it up close in my mirror, is looking terrible. This is probably the worst that it's looked. And I don't know if it's because of the primer, because it's never looked this bad until I tried it with this primer. So I don't know if it's just my skin being weird today, or if the foundation didn't like this primer. So I'm gonna have to test that out again sometime off camera. It just looks very dry and cakey. Around my nose, it does look very separated, and in general, it just doesn't look like it's meshing well with my skin. So yeah, I don't know if it's this primer or if it's just a bad skin day. My skin, again, has been very flaky lately, like over the past few days. I'm gonna be using the Lamora Nude eyeshadow palette, and this one is aimed at being a dupe for the I Need a Nude eyeshadow palette from Natasha Denona. I have used this palette a few times now, and I do really enjoy it, but I wouldn't call it a dupe for the Natasha Denona one. It's just not the same quality. I would say the shimmers in here are the closest to the Natasha Denona shimmers. The mattes are a little bit dusty at times. They're just not as pigmented or as blendable, but they are nice shadows. So I'm just priming my lids with the Wet n Wild Megalast eyeshadow primer. I'm gonna take the shade Cashmere and I'm gonna apply that into my crease. I actually don't think I've tried this shade. I think I've tried pretty much all of the other mattes in this palette, but for some reason I just haven't used this one. And this might be a little bit too light to use in my crease. I don't know why I thought that was gonna show up, but I don't think it does. I think if you have super fair skin, this would be a really nice light transition shade. Next, I'm gonna take the shade Cinnamon, and this one does show up in my crease. I do like that the mattes in here are very soft, and they are decently pigmented, but they're definitely not as pigmented or as smooth as the Natasha Denona ones, but honestly, I wouldn't expect that for the price that you're paying for this one. I'm gonna also take Enigma, which is this deeper, like terracotta shade. So I'm gonna stamp that on the outer corner and then buff it into the crease. So this is one of the shades that I do find I have to build up, but once I do that, it does show up really nicely. So you do have to be a little bit more patient with some of the shades in here. Next, I'm going to take the shade Cocoa, and I'm going to use that to deepen up the outer corners. So this is a cooler toned brown shade. It almost looks gray, actually. I do find that this one tends to stick to certain areas, so it's not quite as easy to blend out as some of the other shades in the palette, but it does blend out eventually. Yeah, it looks just a little bit patchy right on the outer corner, but it doesn't look terrible, just not as smooth as I would like it to be. Let's go in with Halo, which might be my favorite shade in the palette, at least from the shimmers in here. This is such a pretty taupey shimmer shade with a bunch of glitter in it. It almost looks silver, but there's just like a hint of taupiness. See, the shimmers are what really stand out to me in this palette. They are actually pretty close to the Natasha Denona ones. And then I'm gonna top it with a little bit of the shade Quartz, which is that light pink shimmer. I just want like a hint of pink over top. It did tone down some of the slight iciness of the other shade, which I actually didn't mind, but I really like this pink over top of it. The only thing I'm not liking about this look so far is the shade Cocoa. It just looks a little bit patchy on the outer corners. It doesn't look very well blended, even though I did keep trying to blend it. So yeah, I would say the darker shades in here are not my favorite, but they're also not terrible. They are workable. I'm gonna work on the lower lash line. So I'm gonna take the shade Cinnamon and I'm just gonna run that along the lower lash line. And then I'm gonna take Enigma and I'm gonna focus that more on the outer corner and bringing it in about halfway. And then for the inner corner, I'm gonna take some of the shade Quartz, which is that light pink shimmer. I went ahead and did my brows off camera, so let's go ahead and try out some lip products. So this is the Tinderbox Lip Kit from e.l.f. I'm already a huge fan of the e.l.f. lip oils, but what I find interesting is that this red one does have a warming sensation. I don't know that they're necessarily plumping. I didn't see any sort of plumping claim, but this is a really pretty red. It almost looks like it has a hint of pink in it. That feels just like the other lip oil so far. Very moisturizing. It has a really light scent, but I can't quite put my finger on it. And okay, I'm already feeling that warming, tingling sensation that they're talking about. Yeah, that is really nice so far though. So let's go ahead and try the clear one now. And this one is supposed to have a cooling sensation. I would say these both smell slightly minty. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I do smell a little bit of mintiness. This is gonna be really nice for carrying in my purse when I don't want any sort of like tint to my lips. I really like this one. I didn't think I was gonna care for it because it is a clear lip oil, but I really like it. And I really like the cooling sensation so far. It reminds me a lot of the feeling that I get with the Buxom lip creams. They have a really like minty cooling sensation, so I like this one a lot so far as well. Okay, I took that one off and now I'm gonna try the Ready for Anything lip liner. And this is a bright red. Ooh, that glides on so easily. This is the same formula as their Cream Glide lip liners. I think that's what they're called. I really like those. Clearly, this red lip liner doesn't match the eye look, but I would definitely wear this one with just a very simple eye look, something very neutral, or even just mascara. So I do like the undertone of this red. It does lean a little bit pinky, which I'm not used to, but I do think it looks flattering. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off because I do have a couple of lip liners from Maybelline to try. I picked up 2 of the new Lifter Liners from Maybelline. So let's go ahead and try on the shade 07 Big Lift. And this looks like a mid-tone mauvey shade. Okay, that's actually a little bit lighter than I was expecting. I thought it was gonna be a deeper mauve, but it looks more like a nude mauve. Maybe I should have tried this one on at the end because this actually matches the eye look really nicely because of the mauvey undertone. It did glide on pretty easily, but it does seem to be setting down. So it seems to dry down to a matte finish, which I really like. And then next I'm gonna try on the shade 05 On It, which is a lighter nude. I love this one as well. It does look like a cooler toned nude. I thought it was gonna look a little bit warmer on me, but I actually like that it pulls almost cool toned, but not quite. So it just lands somewhere in the middle. It doesn't look too warm or too cool on me, but it is a really nice nude shade. And the formula is really nice. It does glide on, but it dries down eventually. And I'm actually gonna just leave this one on because I don't wanna have to reapply the other shade, even though I really like this one paired with the eye look. So here is the shade On It. And then right next to it is Big Lift. And you can definitely see the difference in undertone. I would apply some of the clear lip oil, but I don't want to get it dirty. I feel like if I go over the lip liner with it, it's just gonna get contaminated. So I'm gonna take the shade Honey Talks. This is another one of the e.l.f. lip oils, and this is one of my favorite nude shades. I feel like this is gonna pair really nicely with this lip liner. Oh yeah, this is a really, really pretty nude combo. That is the perfect nude combo for me. Let's go ahead and apply some of the Set-uationship setting mist before I apply mascara. So I'm gonna shake this up. That actually smells really good. It does have a bit of a light cologne-y scent, which doesn't actually bother me. It's not too intense, and the mist on this is very fine, almost to the point where it feels like you're not getting anything on your face, but it does disperse it really evenly. I feel like it did tone down some of the cakiness that I had going on. The foundation doesn't look as bad as it did about 30 minutes ago when I was complaining about it. I think some of my natural oils are finally coming through, so it doesn't look as dry or cakey in certain areas. It looks a little bit more skin-like, but I still don't think I like this foundation. It's just very finicky and unpredictable. And I'm still using the Clio Kill Lash Super Proof Mascara. A lot of waterproof mascaras don't actually seem to be waterproof, at least not for me, but this one actually lives up to the claim. So I've been loving this mascara still. Okay, let's do a quick run through of everything that I tried today. These are not necessarily my final thoughts on everything because a lot of these were first impressions. So this is just what I think of it so far. Let's start off with the e.l.f. and Tinder collab. First of all, the packaging I think is really nice. Just overall, I think it's a very cohesive collection. A little bit random, some would say, but I do think it's a really good collection of products, and it does seem to be well thought out. The face primer I like so far, but I'm gonna have to test it with other foundations. I am not liking the e.l.f. Soft Glam foundation so far, so maybe this wasn't the best time to test it out, but I'm gonna try it with other foundations, especially some of my favorite ones, and see how I like it. But so far it does feel lightly moisturizing. I do like the texture, and it does feel really nice on my skin. I really enjoyed the lip kit so far. The lip oils are definitely my favorite part of this lip kit, and I really like the undertone of the red lip liner. I don't have anything like that in my collection at the moment, so it is a really nice addition to my lip liner collection. The lip oils I'm a big fan of as it is, but I do really like the warming sensation of the red one and then the cooling minty feeling of the clear one. So this is a big hit for me, and I'm definitely going to use the lip oils the most, I would say. I really like this setting spray so far. I like how fine the mist is, and I feel like it did a good job at melting all of my makeup together and making it look a little bit more skin-like. So I really like this. The packaging, again, I think is very pretty. I really like the makeup bag as well. I can't wait to use this. The Maybelline Sunkisser blushes. The bronzer shade, unfortunately, looks too glittery on me, so I'm probably gonna end up mixing it with the other shade. I do really like City Sizzle, so this one as an actual blush shade is really pretty, but Electric Bronze is just a little too glittery for my liking, but I do like the way that they both blended, and they do leave behind a really pretty sheen on my skin. I'm loving these Maybelline lip liners so far. They do dry down to be a very matte finish, which I wasn't expecting, but they do feel really comfortable. I love the shades that I picked out as well. The Lamora Nude eyeshadow palette. This one I think is a good alternative to the I Need a Nude palette from Natasha Denona, but I definitely don't think it's a dupe. Some of the shimmers are very similar to those, but again, not a dupe, just a really good alternative. The one downside I would say is that the mattes in here do need to be built up. They're a little bit on the powdery side, and you just have to be a little bit more patient with them, especially some of the deeper shades. But overall, this is a really nice, affordable palette. So if you don't want to spend the money on the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette, which is over $60, I do think you would enjoy the Lamora one. All right, you guys, so that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you made it this far, thank you very much. I know this video might be a little bit longer since I did try quite a few things today, but I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.